Hey everybody, we've gotten a hold of the new Ruger LCP 2 380 ACP pocket pistol. Pocket pistols are something that I've never really shot very many of. I've never carried a pocket pistol before, but the feel and everything of this gun makes me consider maybe getting one. Haven't shot it yet, but we'll see you on the range here with it soon. Jeff going to give us some details on it and show a comparison in size with it and a few other of what you would call pocket pistols.
Uh, you know, this particular gun is the second in the series of LCP. Of course, the standard LCP uh, was just like this one is. It's a 6-round 380 single stack magazine, but it had a little different trigger, a little different action. This gun has kind of got the Glock-esque type trigger that Ruger started to use on the LC9S and the LC9S Pro. It's got a little doodad right here that prevents the trigger prevents the trigger from going back unless you actually place your finger on the trigger and then follow through with that motion. It locks back on the last round. This isn't just pushed up. So and this magazine is empty. When this magazine is inserted and you go through your 6th round, it will lock back on the last round. The prior LCP would not do that. You could only lock the slide back manually with a push-up type of a slide lock. The sights are greatly improved on this gun. The original LCP just had a very rudimentary rear sight and front sight. This one has actually got serrations on the sight itself, and it's almost in a Novak type shape. The front sight is definitely easier to see. Has a little bit of serrations on it to where you're not going to get the glare on the front or the rear, so you can pick those sights up a little easier. Big complaint a lot of people had from the LCP to this gun is the width of this grip. Those were so thin in the back, when you would fire that gun, you'd feel the recoil right here in this part of your hand, straight down. And it wouldn't matter what hand size you have or whatever, it hurt. And kind of the contour of that grip, which is kind of funny.
If you look at the size of the gun in my hand, it's
when you look at that grip compared to a company like Hogue had a grip adapter that worked on the LCP that you took the action pin from down here out and you would slide this piece up over the grip. Well, the contour of the new grip is almost identical to having in the old LCP with that Hogue grip added onto it. So it gives you protection in the back of your hand, but it's still made out of that same composite material. It doesn't have any rubber or anything like that in it, but it gives you a little bit more control because it's actually covering more of that surface area. So it's supposed to not, which we'll find out, give you as much recoil in felt recoil in your hand as the LCP did.
It also has a nice rough texture.
Yes.
Here in this grip, so I speculate that there won't be much, if any, slippage while shooting that.
The trigger is a better trigger. It's a little lighter than what it was. This essentially now is a single action semi-automatic. It has a hammer, and the blowback of the firearm cocks that hammer. If you reciprocate the slide or if you're firing it, the blowback will cock that hammer for you. But that hammer is about at a full cock versus the LCP, which kind of they was a direct ripoff, really, of the Kel-Tec P32 or the P380 trigger, where it had a hammer, but it relied on the action to put it into a state of like half cock until you started pulling the trigger, and then it completed that and let the hammer fall. On this LCP2, the hammer stays back, essentially almost all the way like a single action, like on 1911. But when you pull the trigger, you have noticeably less travel and a little lighter trigger pull. So like with this, they have the little finger extension that you can have on the magazine, or they have the flat floor plate like this one right here that you can put on there if you don't like the little finger extension. The LCP magazines from the current generation, or the prior generation rather, will fit the gun. They will not lock the slide back because the magazine is designed a little differently in this area right here. There's a little piece on the follower and a cutout in here to where it can come in contact with the slide stop. So the LCP magazines will fit. It'll fire, function, feed, everything fine, but it will not lock the slide back on this gun. So it's good. You still have magazines you can use. If you have an LCP and you get this, the magazines will interchange as far as the old to the new gun. Barring the fact that it won't lock the slide back, I don't know how important that is, other than maybe being at a range or something like that to lock your slide back, but you can do that manually on the old gun as you can with this one. The barrel is very much the same. The recoil assembly is very much the same, but they really did change a lot of the contours from this gun to the old LCP. I mean, you've handled both of them, haven't you?
Yeah, I've handled LCP.
And you can definitely tell the difference in that girth of that grip. And
to me, they were very off-putting.
Yeah, I've had several Kel-Tec 32s and 380s, and some people put those guns down the road, but they work. They work rather well. I'd say most of the problems that people have with those are people not breaking the gun in properly and so on. They do require a break-in period. I've never heard that out of a Ruger product. Mostly right out of the box, you can clean the gun, lubricate the gun, take it to the range, and fire the daylights out of it, and it's going to function fine.
And we'll probably run a couple different kinds of ammunition.
Of course.
But so for a sub $300 package, you get your standard cardboard boxes that come in, but they come with a little pocket holster. This has it's like a rubberized material, a band around the holster. The pistol fits right in here. It leaves you enough room to get a grip on the handle. And one of the things that I noticed whenever I was checking this out before, I had this in my pocket. The rubberized band doesn't really seem to do a whole lot with the pants that I was wearing. If you were wearing something tighter, maybe a little bit different material maybe. But this tab on the back kind of grabs the back of your pocket, like if you're going to draw it, and the pistol will slip right out of it for you. It really doesn't feel too bad in my hand, even though I'm able to get 2 fingers on it. This thing is it's going to be interesting for me to shoot, at least. I mean, like I said, the pistol, almost completely, my hand will cover the whole thing. So, we look forward to seeing you guys on the range, and we've got a couple comparisons here to make for you.
Of course, the LCP wouldn't actually be available today if it wasn't for the Kel-Tec 32, the P32, which was their first model that they had. Now, this one's got a stainless steel pocket clip on it, and this was the very first generation. This one, my gosh, I've had this one for a long, long time. The slides got wear on it, and it's been with me through a lot as far as carrying. And I've had this in ankle holsters, pocket holsters, with the clip on here, no holster. It just it's just kind of a lightweight, go anywhere gun, super thin. If I look at one of my fingers and I look at that, the contour of that gun as far as frame and slide and everything, there's not much different. And of course, just talking about with Terry and looking at that gun and look at the size of that, as far as my hand, and even looking at the LCP2, it doesn't take much to to cover that gun up. These are these are small guns. The thing that like this gun, as far as the Kel-Tec, if from its first generation to current in the 32, locks back on your last round. There's no exterior slide stop. Everything is interior of the slide and the frame that locks everything back here. They did away with that with the 380. The diameter difference between the two guns, trying to keep the same width and contour and so on between the two guns, they deleted that last shot hold open. But getting around to comparing this to this gun, the firing mechanism from this Kel-Tec is what the first generation LCP has got. So when I'm pulling this trigger, I see a hammer back here, and as I pull that trigger, that hammer comes back and then lets go. So I have that long trigger pull, but I've got constant tension the entire time that I'm pulling it back. So with the LCP2, make sure that's clear again. When I come here, the hammer is almost all the way down in this inspection little hole back here, and when I'm pulling back, I've got travel right here, but it stacks. It stacks right there. I mean, I've got tension on it right here, and as I pull through, it just snaps. It goes. It's got tension, then it breaks over. Between these two triggers here, Terry, feeling the Kel-Tec first.
I can already tell you that I'm probably going to like the Ruger better, but...
well, I don't know. This one's actually pretty surprising.
Yeah, it's surprising.
Yeah, that's very surprising. That gun is actually very accurate. I've had several of those guns, and I got rid of all my 380s in the Kel-Tec, and I kept the 32. The gun's got a really good trigger as far as this particular one does, and
yeah, there's
very
constant
accurate.
tension all the way right
Yeah.
there. And
The only problem I ever have with the 32, because it's really not much different in ballistics to the 380, really is not too much separating them. It's a semi-rimmed cartridge, meaning that the head of the cartridge has got somewhat of a rim on it, whereas the 380 is absolutely rimless. Having hollow points in the magazine of a Kel-Tec with that shortened overall length can lead to what's called rim or lip lock, where those rounds get stuck on one another in the magazine. With the 380, you don't have to worry about that because it is a rimless cartridge. That's the only setback I have from that, and besides countless boxes of 32 ACP full metal jacket that I've fired through that gun, I usually will have a Horbon Powerball that I carry to keep its overall length, but still give me a performance type, expanding bullet for protection. But getting back to what the comparison I was talking about, check clear on that thing, Terry, and compare those two triggers, like I was talking about. The trigger in that gun compared to the trigger in that one, like you said, that surprised you as light as it actually was. That's got a good trigger, but it has a stack, and then it lets go, and it lets go. It's a very, very positive, trigger. So
it resets right back to that stack, and
yeah.
I like the trigger on this a little bit better, just because the take up on it. The take up is a lot quicker than it is on this.
Well, you have that pull through because you are completing that. When you're pulling the trigger, you're actually letting the hammer come back before it lets go. With that one, the hammer's already back.
Right. Mm-hmm. So, what else do you have over there?
Well, I've got a Kahr CW380. Size-wise, these two are incredibly similar. As far as the width and so on, the Kahr is a little thinner in the grip. They're similar in the contour of their slides. Of course, this is available in stainless steel barrel, and so on. And these sights are removable. The Kel-Tec and the Ruger both Your sights are what you've got. At least with this, there's available front night sight and different rear sights for them, or different sight kits. With the stainless steel, you don't have as much maintenance as you may with these two. Of course, you still got to take care of them, and you still sweat on stainless steel. It can still rust. It's called stainless, not stain, stain proof. So it can still rust and so on, but you still have got a less likelihood of that, and you still got to take care of them. Of course, this locks back on the last round, like this one does, you've got a manual slide stop on the side to let that go forward. There's a definite difference in pulling this slide back versus these two. This has got more spring tension. It's got a dual spring design on the guide rod anyway. You can really tell the difference. Now, the trigger in this gun is way different, because this is striker fired, where these have got a hammer. This is striker fired. And
if I'm not mistaken, the striker, as you pull the trigger, you're actually pulling the striker back.
That's right. There's a camming action. So you've got two parts on this. When you pull the trigger, you've got a part that's actually coming back and pulling the striker, another part that's coming back and hitting a firing pin disconnect. So as you pull that back, you're pulling the striker back and coming through. When it comes back to reset, you're just that same pull every single time. And speaking of that, we come here with this gun, and you come back to that point, you come to a reset, it's the same trigger. There's no short reset like a single action, second shot, as these are. This is the same trigger pull time after time after time again. This gun sells for around $350 to $400. This one, I'm seeing it anywhere from around $300 to $320, and this little gun is around the $240 to around $260 range or so, barring the addition of the pocket clip. When you fill that one, Terry, it's for such a small gun, Kahr and their ergonomics really are pretty good, and that trigger in that gun is not a bad trigger.
No, and I've shot Kahrs before, and I actually like them, but I'm looking forward to putting a couple through this one too.
Yeah, this is one of my personal firearms, and it shoots really, really well.
And we'll do some shooting comparisons between
the
three of these.
I hope that no one would have huge expectations of marksmanship. When you have these small
with
guns.
A gun this size, I mean, you're looking at a very close range.
That's right. This is made for extreme concealed carry. Like we're talking about, a pocket gun. I'm not a real big pocket carrier because I use my pockets for things.
Right.
Pockets, So the same reason I would have this in some kind of maybe an inside the pant holster, or
see, that does have a lot more spring tension.
Oh yes, it's got a lot more spring tension. If I had this in a pocket holster, which I have a DeSantis Nemesis holster for this. It's usually in a jacket pocket rather than a pants pocket, and just something that could be gotten to quick, and just like this one with the addition of this pocket clip. And now I'm sure there's some of these manufacturers already got a clip out for this one, because the old Kel-Tec clips will fit the first generation LCP, and then there's other companies that have made one specifically for that. And daggone it, speaking of that, I wish they would make one for this, because I'm looking for something like that. They make it for other models, but they don't make it for the P380 or the CW380. But getting back to what we're talking about here, it's such a small gun. If you need a gun where you are supposed to have a gun potentially, don't break any laws.
Don't break any laws, but there are some places that they'll have a sign up that says no firearms allowed. But I'm going to carry. Sorry, if I have to go in one of those places, I'm going to carry. But normally I choose not to give them my money or my business.
Concealed means concealed. If no one knows you've got it but you, whoop-de-doo. Let's say don't break any laws, but at the same time protect yourself. But I'm sure they're making all kinds of things, with the addition, but this already has this pocket holster with it, and it'll fit other holsters that the other LCP would fit. You know, there's all kinds of ways to carry it. Just would depend on the end user and what you feel comfortable with. I mean, hell, I've even carried stuff like this in a belly band before. You know, ankle holster, belly band, inside the pant holster, pocket holster. Good gosh, it's endless. But like Terry says, we're gonna take this to the range. It's not had a round fired through it. Of course, this gun, that gun are both broke in. This one here is gonna, be freshly fired, and we'll clean it up and everything before we take it out there. So be looking forward to that part of the video. And anything else you got to add to it, Terry?
Just what it comes with. You get your lock here, chamber flag, and the booklet, and you get a little Ruger decal here. Some other papers, just sales stuff and whatnot. But yeah, see you guys on the range.
See you.
We're out here on this beautiful 20-degree Indiana morning with the Ruger LCP 2. Yeah, it's got a nice big trigger guard here. I am wearing gloves. We're gonna see how that goes. All right, it's too cold to stand here and talk to you guys very much, so we're gonna get to shooting. First shot, we're at about 15 feet, and let's see where we hit. All right, out of 6 shots, that's not too bad of a group for a little subcompact 380 like that. One went a little low. I was aiming right at the center, so my shots are low left, but yeah, I had a couple of the holes touching there, and pretty decent sized group, don't you think, Jeff?
Yeah, not bad at all.
All right, let's give Jeff some shots with
I've got the LCP2 here, and I'm gonna put a magazine through it and see how it shoots. Looks like I cut a lot of the same holes that Terry shot. In this weather, my hands are cold. I'm not wearing gloves. I can't stand to wear gloves to shoot. So, shooting a little low left, but really not far off point of aim for a small gun like this. Still grouping really, really tight. With a couple of these, I danced down a little bit, but most all the others, I brought it up and cut these pretty good, but brought some here and here. That's just cold fingers. The LCP2 is a small gun, and like some people would call it a pocket gun. I'm not a person that advocates carrying in a pocket too much, but it seems that that's the category this gun is in. But just to kind of display the capability of a gun like that coming from a pocket, even on a cold day like today, just bringing a gun out and it's able to be fired from the pocket at the size that it is pretty quick. Just in the rapid fire that I did, there's some that were in the target, some just on the very outside of the target, but just in this distance, which is what most people would say would be in a self-defense type scenario, the gun shot pretty good and was able to stay on target even with my lovely cold hands today.
in between takes, you know, we were, you know, kind of admiring this gun and thinking how well it was shooting. Everything we were shooting was right on here, and some of that was rapid fire and different things. And then Terry came down here with the rapid fire group. Well, between shots and between, well, we should have recorded it, but we didn't. Had a Kahr CW380 and a Kel-Tec P32 that we took some shots with. The Kahr, in my hands, I shot all this. Terry shot this incredible group right here. Excuse me. And the P32 shot this amazing group down here. These little guns can and will shoot. They're viable, you know, combat arms for someone that can just carry this.
You know, to be honest, I really didn't have a whole lot of faith in the pocket pistol 380s. After shooting this, you know, this is a great little gun for a deep concealed carry. I would definitely think about getting one. I would carry this. It's functioned great right out of the box. I've had no issues with it at all. We've tried a couple different kinds of ammunition through it. You know, it's not overly snappy. It's not uncomfortable to shoot. You know, this is something that I could actually take out and have fun with. You know, as you can see here, you know, it's very accurate in my opinion for a small pistol, you know, this size.
No, Terry, I thought that the gun shot incredibly well too. No malfunction even on a cold day like today. I mean, that's gonna tax even the best of lubricants and firearms and so on. You know, got a mixture of polymer and steel, and it still functioned fine.
The other small handguns that we had featured in this video at the beginning, I think that we'll probably end up doing some shooting video on each of those pistols as well. All of this is from the Ruger LCP2, as well as this grouping down here in the center target. This grouping is from the Kahr 380, as well as this one. And this is from the Kel-Tec P32. Thanks for checking out our video. Be sure to like us on Facebook, hit the like button on our videos, and subscribe to us. See you guys soon.